Just recently we learned that the Xbox One has been doing very well for itself in both the UK and the US, as it has beaten the PlayStation 4 for the third month in a row. And now we have some comments from Phil Spencer, who has spoken in a couple of interviews recently, and the first interview that I want to touch on is his interview with PC Authority. And he discussed the topic of Xbox Play Anywhere. Now, of course, as they said at E3, and as they have very much lived up to, they want to make sure that all their games are available, their first party games that is, on both Xbox and Windows, and if you buy the game digitally, you can play it on either system, which is actually really nice. Now, of course, for the moment it is only first party games, but Phil believes that over time, more companies such as, Ubisoft and EA and so on, will come on board. Now, he did first say that the reception to this idea for people involved in the Xbox ID program, which of course is for indies, has been pretty positive and they see the benefit of it. But of course, publishers that are, dealing in the millions of dollars are taking the wait and see approach. And Phil discussed this saying, quote, "I'd say some of the bigger traditional third-party publishers, they want to see how this works out for us. There's always a fear that you're giving away two games for the price of one. I'll say I think there are very few people that actually buy a game twice, once on PC, once on console. Really what you're doing is you're just allowing the customer you already have to play your game more often. In today's world, engagement on games is more engagement on games. And is almost always a good thing, even multiplayer and the business models around those games. I think the big third-party big publisher adoption will happen in time." And to be honest, he's not wrong. Very few people are going to buy the same game twice. For example, we are one of those people because, well, we do graphics comparisons sometimes and we'll buy the same game twice on different systems. One for PC, one for the PS4 and one for the Xbox One. Sometimes we'll do PC as well, but of course, with this feature, we don't have to worry about the PC versus Xbox One version. We can just do that, which is great. But obviously, people like us are the exception to the rule. Most people are just going to buy the one game, and that's it. But giving people the option of not having to buy the game twice. Say, for example, if someone is an Xbox One player, but a couple of years pass and they end up getting an amazing PC, they can still play the game that they just bought on Xbox One a year ago, or whatever it happens to be, on PC, because Microsoft allowed them to do so. There is no downside there for the consumer, and no downside for the publisher, really, because, well, that instance is very rare, and it just keeps that person playing their game, rather than just going, oh, well, I guess I'm just going to either just not play it, or I'll play it on console, I guess. But, if you just bought a shiny new PC, you're going to want to play shiny PC games. This is just one example of one instance where this might actually be applicable, of course. Now, the other interview that he took part in recently was one with Play Asia, and he discussed on the Xbox One's lack of success in Japan. Of course, it's doing great in the US and UK, and Australia, as I've already discussed, but in Japan, it's kind of the polar opposite of that, to be honest. And regarding the poor sales in Japan, Phil said, quote, "Sadly, the Xbox One is not living up to the amount of sales I originally thought the country would put out, but with the Xbox One S, we will release it in Japan, and with the cooperation of many developers, we're hoping to make a giant change in sales compared to the current climate." Now, he naturally discussed on why he thinks that the Xbox One just isn't doing very well for itself in Japan, and he touched on what I think is at least one of the key reasons for why this is. I mean, obviously one of the reasons is that Japan is a very mobile gaming focused country. The 3DS sells like hotcakes. Mobile gaming is very much a thing. But another reason is, of course, that the games just aren't really as interesting to the Japanese community as it is to us in the West, of course. And he said, quote, "I think it's due to a lot of games that are released on the console. I feel that a lot of games are not games that the Japanese public would play and get themselves into. A lot of games would really seem to like games such as Persona 5 or Neo, and that's why we decided to get in touch with Japanese developers to create such games as Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey for the Xbox 360. If we plan on doing better in the Japanese game market, we want to release games that the average Japanese gamer will really enjoy." And they are indeed making inroads with Japanese developers, as we've seen with games such as ReCore and, of course, Scalebound from Platinum Games, which I'm really looking forward to, by the way. And this is definitely one way to get Japanese gamers interested in, is of course they're making the type of games that they actually want to play. The type of games that are popular in Japan are of course very different to the type of games that are popular over here. There's of course some crossover, but you're probably not going to see Call of Duty in the charts over in Japan, let's just put it that way. So working with Japanese developers and giving the type of games that Japanese gamers are going to be more interested in is definitely a step forward. And Phil said, quote, "So far we have made friends with a variety of developers that have then asked to create games for our system, such as Mr. Inafune Kaji with Recall, and Mr. Kamiya Hideki, and the staff from Platinum Games for the development of Scalebound. We plan to talk with many other developers in order to bring more games to the Japanese market. We're happy to announce Final Fantasy 15 on the Xbox One, which made me extremely happy. As we mentioned, we plan on a lot more connections." Now, is this going to be enough? Probably not to make it the powerhouse of success that it is in the West, to be honest, because as I said, the main problem with getting into Japan is they are very mobile gaming focused. So while this is definitely going to help, it's probably never going to match up to its US and UK figures, but they at least are trying to improve it, which of course is always a good thing. So, that is me done for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Do forgive me a little bit of stumbling over my words. I'm still getting over being sick, and I'm not on my A game just yet, but I'm working on it. Anyway, thank you again for watching. I'll see you next time.